Department of Justice does not work for the president.
Yes,
the Department of Justice works for the American people.
No, it works for the executive branch. It's in the Constitution. It exists in the executive branch.
The lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people.
You're acting like it's an independent branch of government. It's in the executive branch, run by the president.
I mean, yes, but the lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people, not for the president of the United States, not the person in the office.
So you don't think anyone in the executive branch is bound to the head of the executive branch?
No. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Department of Justice.
That was beautiful. Honestly, today we're watching Scott Jennings annihilating his entire CNN panel. It's beautiful to watch. You don't want to miss it.
Just criminals, they would say, "Oh, Trump is not going to do that."
They didn't believe it. They didn't believe it.
I have them on tape. I have them on tape.
I know. I have all the anecdotes. The assertion that all American voters did not know exactly what Donald Trump is going to do. Oh, they didn't think it is totally false. There was mass amount of polling during the campaign. Hispanic Americans supported deportations in majority. You and I debated this many times. Yep. You claimed it wasn't true. And then what they do? They went and voted for Donald Trump. The election results are clear. There is no buyer's remorse. The people who followed our laws and came here legally are more than happy to see the laws.
But here's what's being missed. I think this is very critical. In a vacuum, yes, majority of Americans do support mass deportation, Scott, but you have seen this also in polls. When you start telling them what that means,
illegals leaving, they support it.
No.
They support that.
Yes, they support the criminals. Let me finish. When you start telling them what that means, dreamers, veterans, teachers, first responders, their family, then they say, you know what? These are people that have been here for 30 years. They have contributed trillions of dollars to our economy. I prefer to give them a pathway to citizenship. So you know what the solve is, Scott? In order to get rid of all of those illegals, let's give them a pathway to citizenship. That is a win-win for the economy, for us.
You're fighting the last battle. He's fighting the next one.
Just criminals.
I agree. If you're here illegally, you're already a criminal. You're already committed a crime, and you should simply go outside and come back in through the legal system.
And I just think it's horrific. I don't understand why this guy keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, whether or not he believes this stuff personally.
You didn't even mention the Nazi jokes he was making on Twitter. That actually got.
He's been given so many chances
about it.
Yeah.
I was hearing a lot of sighing, Scott. What's the deal?
I mean, we've moved on from Trump derangement syndrome to Elon derangement syndrome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to defend his saying the Germans get to...
Let me let him finish, Catherine.
I love this game we play where you talk for 2 minutes, I talk for 3 seconds, and you freak out. So he has a long record of supporting the Jewish people, number one. Number two, anybody who is asserting this thing he did on the stage the other day was a Sig Heil, which I just heard you say, lawyer up maybe, because absolute ridiculous thing to say. Under no circumstances.
The Nazis in Germany thought it was a Sig Heil.
The Nazis in Germany thought it was a Sig Heil. Was he doing anything other than expressing enthusiastically?
Why don't you do it on TV right now?
His appreciation.
Why don't you do it on TV right now if you think it's so?
Number three. Number three. I think it is fully appropriate, and I, of course, have been the strongest supporter of the Jewish people on this network for over a year, since October the 7th.
Is that true?
To remember the Holocaust and to remember the atrocities committed against the Jewish people. And I also think it's appropriate to remember the atrocities committed against them right now. And it seems to me, let me just finish my point.
No,
it seems to me,
I won't let you change the subject.
It seems to me,
let's address what we're talking about.
I'm trying to finish my point.
As the Jew at this table,
I'm trying to finish my point.
I would say
the people who are most concerned about, and most all over Elon Musk today, have had nary a word for the Nazis on college campuses who've gone crazy for the last year and a half.
That is bull. That is bull.
Nothing.
I am a Jew.
That is bullshit. Oh, that was amazing to see all of them completely triggered by Scott Jennings speaking out the truth.
The reason Donald Trump had to resort to these tariffs and sanctions and punishments today is because the president of Colombia refused to accept a flight of migrants. He said he wouldn't take them. Donald Trump said, we're going to enter the F around and find out portion of this conversation. And he hit him with sanctions and tariffs. And now tonight, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says Congress is going to back him up on that. He's putting Colombia, he's putting the rest of this hemisphere on notice that you are not dealing with the same president that you were. You're dealing with someone who is taking illegal immigration seriously. Now, within an hour of making that threat, the president of Colombia said, whoa, 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 I'll send my own plane to pick these people up. So obviously he got their attention. And they'll have learned a valuable lesson that Donald Trump is taking immigration, illegal immigration, seriously. This is real leadership, but it sends a message to everybody else in the hemisphere. Do not test us. This is not Biden and Harris. This is Trump and Vance. We mean business. Yeah, of course.
I agree with Scott Jennings right there. This is real leadership. Donald Trump means business. He's not gonna let any country walk all over the United States ever again. This is what you do when you are a real leader.
Why is she being bullied?
Why is that wrong?
Why is she being bullied for acknowledging something that's smart, truth, and factual?
Well, a couple things. Number one, whether you're an athlete or anyone else, if I hear you use the phrase "my truth," I immediately then discount everything else you say, because there isn't my truth or your truth. There's just the truth. And when you start using phrases like that, it tells me that
not true.
Your brain has been captured by something that I don't really respect.
That's not true.
Number two.
That's not true.
Number two, the attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But, the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about having respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean?
To
What did they build? What do you mean? What did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
The reason why it's still up and still running, whether it's losing money or not, is because of these black women who are in this.
Isn't it because of the investors?
No, Scott, stop it. You stop it now.
It's not. I was in Dickie's arena.
Who pays for it?
I was in Dickie's arena. Let me just tell you.
It says more about the people who are getting offended by it than her.
I think they're just disappointed that she appears to have been captured by the woke mob.
You don't like the word.
And here's the disappointment.
It's the white privilege. Let him articulate this, because I want to learn something.
I feel a little bad for her, because she's going to learn that it will never be enough. No matter how much of the phrasing, no matter how much of the groveling you do, it will never be enough for the people in that league that hate her guts.
Why do you assume
they hate her guts?
Why do you assume that she
is
trying to pander? Isn't it
because
also,
I hear the language. It's the language of the pander. I hear the phrase white privilege. Sports is the one place where nobody on the field has any privilege at all. She doesn't get extra points when she shoots because she's white. She gets the same number of points as anybody else. Sports is the great equalizer, and it just felt like to a lot of people that she was groveling for no reason, because she is an amazing player who deserves all the accolades she's getting right now for doing what she's doing for women's basketball.
I agree. People are so triggered. This only see black and white and Hispanic people. Honestly, it doesn't matter your sex, your gender, or your skin color. All it matters is your performance and your skills and your competence. And we should focus on your merit, and not of any kind of discriminatory criteria.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think anybody that's out making criticism about prices of anything after 5 days of a presidency is not someone you should listen to. If that is your political argument today, you're showing just how empty you are and exactly why Democrats lost the last election. They obviously understand nothing about how the American people are processing this. Number two, you get your next report card at the midterm. I mean, November 2026, voters will go back to the polls and they're going to register a verdict on how the party in power is doing. The party in power is the Republican Party. We control everything, small margins, but we control everything. And they're going to expect some progress on issues, immigration, economy, energy prices. I mean, those are the big ticket issues. And they're also going to assess how they feel about their own lives. Do they still feel the same economic anxiety that they were feeling under the last administration? And do they feel that the policies that have been put in place are working or are moving towards working? So you get your next report card at the midterm, and I think he's got that kind of leash to enact an agenda. I mean, Joe Biden was in office for 4 years. It got pretty bad, and that's why Donald Trump won the election. So I don't think people out screaming about egg prices after 5 days are very credible at the moment, John.
Beautiful, amazing to hear him speak out the truth right there. People wanted change. People saw the disastrous life that they had under the Biden administration, and they wanted Donald Trump to fix everything. That's why he is now the president.
Hold on, Scott. You just said something that's not correct.
What?
You tried to slip it in there. You said at the order of the president. That is completely false.
He did not appoint the prosecutor?
It is completely false that Joe Biden ordered the creation of someone to investigate Donald Trump. That did not happen.
What do you? I mean,
you just said that, and it didn't. That didn't happen.
They had a special they had a
I think
special prosecutor under the Biden administration that went after Donald Trump. They did not.
Under the order of the president.
All these things are in the executive branch.
I get that.
This is my argument.
I get the
it is an executive branch,
Scott,
and the president's at the top of it.
You have no evidence that Joe Biden ordered the investigation.
He said on the record multiple times that Donald Trump should have been thrown in jail, and said that Merrick Garland failed by not doing it.
If Ashley's point is correct, that you think that it's just fine for the president of the United States to order whatever investigation he wants, what's wrong with that?
I think I am making a simple personnel argument.
No, what's wrong with it?
The Justice Department exists in the executive branch, and it exists under the president. It is not an independent agency.
If that is the case, then what would be wrong with Joe Biden? If that's the case, what would be wrong with Joe Biden saying, I'm going to order the Justice Department to go after my political enemies? Wouldn't there be nothing wrong with that, by your logic?
Well, I don't think that there's any problem with the president as the head of the executive branch telling the Justice Department, I think things need to be investigated here.
That is quite...
But it's up to them. It's up to them to decide whether laws were broken.
I think it is completely ridiculous. It is a completely ridiculous argument that she's trying to make right there. We all know that this prosecution of Donald Trump was all a political matter. It was all politicized. It was a complete witch hunt. It was the Democratic Party trying to basically use the justice system to take down their political opponent. We all know that.
Well, watching Donald Trump's day today, I'm just struck by the fact that we have a president again. I mean, look at this guy's day. 3 speeches, 196 executive actions, holds a 90-minute press conference narrating each one as he goes along. I mean, Joe Biden could not and would not offer the kind of transparency or vigor to the American people that we got here on day one from Trump. And tonight, Trump's going to throw on a tux and go to 3 balls. I mean, he's having an active day. I think it's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden. I was watching Trump today, and Van and I were talking earlier today, watching him walk down the hall of the Capitol, and the words that came to mind to me were gritty, resilient, determined, and audacious. There's not like a more perfect advertisement for the value of these qualities in modern America. I mean, you think about all the things that happened to him. Winning, losing, the court cases, nearly being assassinated. It's rather audacious what he has accomplished, winning this election and taking office today. And you said you were in shock. Well, Republicans are in awe.
What about with the pardons? What's your take on that?
Here's what I think. Were these people punished? Yes. Were they ruined financially? Yes. Did they spend time in jail? Yes. Have their lives been ruined? Absolutely. And one of you said earlier, Van or Axe, that you think this sends a terrible signal that you can get away with things like this, as though we've never had a moment in recent American history when people were not punished for rampaging around when they shouldn't have been. It was the summer of 2020. And these people were actually punished. Those people were never even charged.
Hey, that's not true at all.
That's not true. Most charges were not.
Let him answer. But I do see it differently in that I don't like it when people tear up buildings at all. I'm not a part of some pro-riot, pro-crime lobby.
Okay. We can all admit that some of the J6 participants were very, very agitated and violent, not only against the property, the Capitol, but also against the police officers that were there that day. That some were wrongly charged. Even if you trespassed on the Capitol, that does not mean that you should spend your whole life in prison. I think it was all politicized. They wanted to make a point. They wanted to go after the Trump supporters, of course. And they were charged inadequately. I believe so. I believe that some of the charges against the January 6th participants were way, way, way too high compared to what it should have been. The justice system should be used fairly and impartially and be fair for everybody, regardless of your political affiliation. Honestly, that's what I believe, and that's why Donald Trump just pardoned everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video with me today. I hope you like this video and let me know what you think about this video and click right there to watch the next video. And I will see you there. Bye-bye.